Yes, good evening, students. In continuation of the previous slides, today we'll go with the sampling and sampling distributions again, and we'll come on the next slide, in which we will describe today what is the difference between census and sampling. Yes. So in this particular slide, what the author want to say, as you know, the researchers will be more comfortable to do a sampling, to collect a sample and making the results. So in that cases, how the sample is more beneficial than census, we will understand with the help of this slide. So census, as you have already discussed in the classes, even though in the video lectures also, census, when you are going to study all the individuals, you are getting the data separately, but in the sample we are selecting the representative and we are analyzing those group only, and then we are making our results. So of course, so census will be more reliable and accurate because you are focusing individuals, you are focusing each and every person, each and every element. But in the sample, as we are just targeting on the representatives, that's why their accuracy and reliability, some extent you can say there is a chance of error. Then you can say census is a time consuming because you are targeting almost all the persons, all the individuals, or individuals elements. So it is, of course, it will be more time consuming rather than sample. Fine. So sample will be more quickly giver, for the results and for the analysis. Census is very expensive, of course, when you're targeting each and every aspect. So you have to be spend your more time and your traveling distance, your survey expenditures, and your communication charges and whatever. So each and every consume some cost. So it will be more costly, more expensive rather than sampling. But it will not be convenient if it is reliable, it is accurate to a researcher, but it will not be convenient because the researchers has to collect a lot of efforts for collecting the data rather than sampling. Because when we are comparing the sampling with the census, you are taking any small portion of that population and universe with representing the populations. So it will take less time, less expensive, and it will be more convenient to the researcher. Now, what is sampling? Basically, sampling is a process. It is a process when you're selecting a sample from the population. That is called sampling. So it is a way, it is a process, like it is a steps which you are going to be adopted, by which you are creating a sample. So this is called sampling. I have put an example in this particular slide that determining the job satisfaction of a company having 1,20,000 employees. So if I'm asking with you all students, so 1,20,000 employees, if I'm going to conduct a survey as a researcher, so what it will be called? Of course, it will be called as a census. It is not a sample. So what I'll do, what as a researcher will do, the researcher will collect a sample from 1,20,000 employees. That can be 10,000, that can be 50,000, that can be 11,000, whatever. It can be 1,000. So according to the universal method, or according to the methods by which you are collecting your sample, that describe what will be the accurate sample size on which you can define your results, which will proportionate of the populations, and it will give a analytical impact of your study. Now the next slide, it will describe the benefit of sampling in the research. What are the benefits? As we have already discussed in the previous slide, where it describes the difference between the census and sampling, this particular slides compiled that particular benefits of the sampling. It will save the time for you, it will provide accuracy, because when we will calculate the sampling error, so as we will calculate sampling error, we will identify whether this crossing their limit, it is beyond their limit, or it is within the limit. Fine. So to extend that particular error will be acceptable, so it will provide accuracy and we will compare our results. Then controls unlimited data. Of course, we are not going for the census, so we are having a study of a part of the whole. So we will have a limited data, so it will control the unlimited data. It will studies individuals which will be representative in the samples. It will reduce your cost. It will speed up your expedite your work, fine, within the stipulated time, a time frame, because every researchers have some stipulated time to complete their task. Every project have a rigid period in which you have to be performed accurately. So that's why, so it sample, the procedure of sample will speed up your work within that particular time frame. It will assist you for the whole data calculations, so it will be very beneficial in the research. Now it is a sampling process. As we were discussing what is sampling, which is a define a process by which you are collecting a sample. This is a sampling process. So now I'm defining the sampling process. These are some steps by which you will start your sampling process. First of all, what you will do, you will define the population. Define the population, it means what will be your target audience, what will be your target area, what will be your target elements for which you are going to be conduct your research. Next, specifying sampling frame. Sampling frame, basically it is a list of sources, list of all objects from which you are going to be collect your data, whether it can be primary, whether it can be secondary, but what are the different sources from which you are going to collect your data. So you will prepare a list of your sources. Next, specifying sampling unit. Specifying sampling unit, it means within your research conduct, what will be the different elements. Whether, for example, if you are going to conduct your research in an area of marketing, so in this marketing, if you want to be identify, or you are making a research study for the comparison of different brands, or you are making any comparative studies between the marketing strategies of one particular brand. So what you will do, you will identify how many retailers you have to be study, how many wholesalers you have to be study, what type of products, elements and attributes you are going to be study, what type of people you are going to be study, what type of another elements or components you are going to be study. So these are all called, will be the sampling unit for a researcher. Next is specifying sampling method and techniques. Of course, it is very important. Techniques will suggest you how you will collect your sample in a effective way, which will provide you accurate result. So in a later videos or later PPTs and online lectures, we will discuss about this particular sampling method and techniques. There is a different sampling methods and techniques like cluster sampling, stratified sampling, systematic sampling, random sampling, non-random sampling. So later we will discuss, carry on with me. Next is determine sampling size. Of course, it is a very important. When you have applied a technique, you have collected, you are going to collect a sample, but you don't know how much, what is the volume of my sample must be in my research area. So it is a very important to know what will be the volume of the sample size. So in that cases, a universal method as suggested by the C.R. Kothari, it is a very important method which will be helpful how to calculate a sample from the whole population. So for example, you want to be check employees satisfaction in one particular company. So employee satisfaction is the main criteria, or can be the different related objectives in your research study. In that cases, how you will decide how many employees you have to be take, which will represent or which will good representative of your whole populations. So in that cases, you can adopt a different methods to select that sample, but you have to be fixed a proportion how much. In that cases, universal method is so important. So you will apply that and then you will select your sample size. Specifying sampling size. Your sampling size must be optimum. It must not be undersized, or it must not be oversized, because it will affect your results. Now specifying sampling plan. You have already selected the size. Now you have optimum size. Now as a researchers, the sample size which is in your hand now you will specify. After making that particular, after selecting that particular size of sample, now how you will specify what will be the next step for your sampling, how you will verify whether it will provide an accurate result, whether there is any sampling error, whether it is an accurate size, whether there is any rule of thumb, like you have collected in a proper manner, and you will verify the results, or you will verify that particular sample size. Now at last, after verification, after specification, you will select your sample size. Now what are the components and attributes of the good sampling? As we know, every, even though human being is required some components when they are performing any task. So that's why if any researcher is doing research, they must identify what are the good components of their sampling. So first is, the sample should be true representative of the universe, because it will directly impact of your result, give a direct impact on your results. No bias in selecting sample, there must not be any biasness. Quality of sample should be same. Sampling needs to be adequate, accurate because there must not be error in a samples, because if we are going to be describe the error, it means mu minus small s. Mu, it means population, and small s, it means samples. There must not be major differences between both. It is necessary that complete, correct, practical and clear instructions should be given to the researchers. Of course, the researcher must be clear about these particular work. So this is the next slide. After that, we will describe what are the different methods of sampling. So, and this, in this slides I have cleared that there is a two types of methods we have to be understand in this research methodology, that is probability and non-probability samples. In the probability, we will describe what is the random and simple sampling, stratified random sampling, cluster sampling, systematic sampling, and in the non-probability, where is quota sampling, purposive, snowball, convenience samplings. So both are the different aspect, both are the both type of methods having the large differences. So that's why in terms of quantitative and qualitative, we will understand what is the major differences between the two type of sampling, and what are these type of and techniques and methods of sampling. So kindly be with me for the next coming videos. I will describe these methods. Thank you for the same.